you grade 5s. So welcome to week 2, day 2. You are officially in my home right now, so I'm talking to you from my living room, so welcome to my home. This is all very new to me too, for my kiddos anyways. Those of you who saw my post on the weekend, I said the best term to describe everything that's going on is that this is an adjustment. This is an adjustment for you, this is an adjustment for me. The fact that I'm teaching you from my living room is unheard of, but I think it's kind of amazing. And my kids also will know this. This is our lovely quote board from our classroom. So starting now, basically this week, teachers are not to be you were not to be in school for the past almost 3 weeks. But for us now, we're recommended not to go to school as well. So I will literally have to teach you from my living room, which we're gonna make it work, right? If you take anything away from this whole experience, and now I'm talking like kind of, long term, yes, I want you to listen to the math lesson I'm about to teach, and the science, and the social, and the ELA, of course, but also that this is reality, this is life. Things happen that are unpredictable, and we have no control over, and the best thing that we can do is 1, not to panic, and 2, is just to do the best that you can with what you've got. So instead of me panicking, I don't have my smart board, I don't have all my technology, I said, and all teachers are saying, you know what, this is what it is, this is what's happening. I can either be super, super upset about this, or I can just say, okay, I'm gonna do the best that I can with what I've got, with the circumstances that are currently occurring in the world. So I'm stoked. I think this is kind of cool that you're in my living room. I'm teaching you, so again, for my kiddos, they know this, I got a few things from my table that made me feel like, okay, I'm in my zone, I'm in my teacher zone. So, and I got the easel so I can write the notes. We're gonna do the best we can, okay? We're just gonna move on and keep doing what we know best, which is teaching you and you learning, and that's it. Okay, so today's lesson, I'll erase this. So yesterday was a revision day for you. You were working on reviewing conversion using the ladder, going from different units, metric units, to a different metric unit. Today now we're moving on, and it's kind of like a easier day too, because this is going to be touching into our prior knowledge from grade 4. Okay, so right now, the things you'll need for today is your math notebook. You'll need a highlighter. You will need, that's pretty much it. You'll need the worksheets from Edmodo after, but right now you just need a math notebook and a highlighter and a pencil. So go grab those and come join me. The best part about all this is that you can pause. So it's great because I only have this much space to write. So I'm gonna be racing constantly, but you just pause, you finish writing up if I'm moving too fast, but I think you should be just fine. So fresh new page, let's get the date written down. Today is, no, not Sunday. Today, I'm making this video on a Sunday, so I'm thinking Sunday. Today is Monday. March, holy moly, it's almost the end of March. Time is flying even though there's so much going on. 30th, 2020. The title for today is Perimeter and Area. And hopefully those are not brand new concepts. Hopefully something in your mind went ding, 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 ding. I remember that. I kind of remember how to calculate perimeter or area, hopefully. Then our I can statement will be I can review, and if you see me looking down, this is just my notes because I want to make sure I get everything down. I don't want to just forget some things. And if you hear my phone, please ignore it. I can review my prior knowledge, right? My prior knowledge of perimeter and area. It's very interesting to write on the side like this, but I'm doing my best as well. And please highlight that. So our I can statement is, I can review my prior knowledge of perimeter and area. And my kids will know this because I use it all the time, but prior knowledge just means things that you learned in the past. They're what you are coming, they're the toolbox you're coming into grade 5, knowing about perimeter and area. We're going to just review that today and then build on that. And that's what math is, right? You have some knowledge, you build on it. Then you take that same knowledge, you build on it. That's what we're doing today. Reviewing grade 4's knowledge. So, hopefully a lot of this is review for you. And if it's not, that's totally okay too. There's a lot going on. That's what today is for, right? Just to tap into our prior knowledge. So let's review some concepts. Let's do perimeter first. So perimeter, maybe I'll put this over here. My little, do you like my little stationaries? Lots going on. Okay, there we go. Perimeter is do you remember what the perimeter is? It's a distance around and it could be anything. We obviously in math look at shapes, but it's a distance around an object, a shape, or something. So I'll just say shape because we look at shapes. But perimeter would be if I'm looking at the perimeter of my living room right now, it's of the room. So it would be the distance around the room. But I'm just saying objects, shapes, whatever the item is that you're kind of trying to calculate for. Now, there are two things we need to know or need to remember. One is how to find it. So how do I calculate it? So, how to calculate, or let's say how to calculate. Do you remember how to calculate perimeter? So basically, and I'll write it. So we add, highlight that please, we add all the sides together. In the calculator, we add all the sides together. And the second thing we need to know is how do you measure it? So measured in, and when I say measured in, I'm talking about units. Am I going to say kilometers? Am I going to say meters? So that's the measurement, the units you're using, right? So it could be anything from millimeters, centimeters, meters, kilometer, any of the units that we looked in the ladder. It could be any of those, okay? So, two things you need to know about perimeter. Perimeter first is the distance around the shape or an object or a room, right? Next, two things you need to remember is how do you calculate it? We add all the sides, excuse me, and then what do we measure it? And when we actually calculate it, how do we measure it? We either measure it in millimeters. So if I'm doing my room, I might say meters. If I'm looking at a small little shape, I might say centimeters. So it just depends on whatever the object is, okay? So I'm gonna erase this now, just pause the video. You can copy it all down and then you can continue. And then we can do some examples. So I'm gonna erase it, you pause it, and then we can do an example of how do I calculate perimeter. Oh boy. Really missing my smartboard. Okay, let's do an example. It's black yet. So you're just continuing wherever you were. So let's do an example of how to calculate perimeter. If we're saying I add up all the sides of the shape, let's do that. So let's say I've got a shape. Let's say I've got a rectangle. Okay, you will be using a ruler. I'm not having a ruler. I'm just doing the best that I can. And let's say I've got this is 7 centimeters long. And I can say this is, let's say, 3 centimeters long. Okay, now, also some of our prior knowledge, let's say I just left it as this. And I've told you this is a rectangle. Now, you should know, based on your knowledge of a rectangle and the properties of a rectangle, what this is and what this is. So what would these two be? So let's just say I give you this. What would the measurement, how long is this? Knowing that this is a rectangle, we know that this was going to be 7 centimeters as well, good. Because we know rectangle, these two sides are always the same. Also, if this is 3 centimeters, we know this is going to be, hopefully you're saying 3 centimeters. right? We know that. And sometimes, and we're gonna look at a little bit later too, you might see these little dashes drawn in. And don't worry too much about it, but it basically just says, if this dash is here, it's the same length as this dash, which it is, right? 7 and 7. Anywhere I see this one dash, same unit, same length. If I see two dashes, anywhere I see two dashes, they're also the same length. But also, don't worry about that too much right now. Right now, I just want you to know that rectangle means that these two are always the same, these two are always the same. Okay, now let's calculate the perimeter. So, and I'll write it over here. Perimeter, and just for the first one, I'll write the whole thing, but short form you can write down P. If I'm calculating perimeter, P. You always say, so I know how to calculate it, you're adding all the sides. So it's side plus side plus side plus side. So we know that it's 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 3, right? So I've taken each of the sides, side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4, correct? I've got perimeter is equal to side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4. So 7, 3, 7, 3. Then this is easy, you're just doing addition. So what is 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 3? So we know 7 plus 3 is 10. 7 plus 3 also 10, so we know that is 20. So that's part 1. Remember we had looked at 2 parts of perimeter. So how do I calculate it? Okay, I've calculated it. I've added all the sides. Second part were the units. So what are my units here? Am I working with kilometer? Am I working with meter? No. Working with centimeter. So I know I have to end with a centimeter. If you just put this, you would only get half marks. You would lose mark because it just says 20. 20 what? Is it 20 blankets, 20 pillows, 20 spoons, 20 books, 20 centimeters, or 20 kilometers? We need to know the units. So full complete answer would be 20 centimeter. Okay? Easy enough? Let's do another example. Hopefully this is all just coming right back. Example 2. Let's do, okay, let's do. Okay, and I've told you that this is a square. And I said, let's say this is 4, let's say this is 4 meter. And that's all I left it. But I have said, and you're probably wondering, well, Ms. Mavish, how am I going to add all the sides if I only know one side? But I'm telling you that this is a square. What do we remember about a square? That all sides are equal. So I know that if this is 4 meters, this is also going to be 4 meters, this is also going to be 4 meters, and this is also going to be 4 meters, right? Okay, now the easier part. So P, if I say P, I know you mean perimeter, is equal to what? Side plus side plus side plus side. So that's 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. It's very interesting. And then you're just doing addition. So 4, you're adding 4 times, or you're doing multiplication, right? 4 times 4. So I know that's 16. Okay, I'm almost done. What are my units that I used? So this time I happen to use meter. So I know my units is meter, 16 meters. Easy enough. So that's perimeter. You're adding all the sides. Please pause the video right now. I'm about to erase it before we move on to area. So perimeter is always the preferable one. Most kids love perimeter because it's super, super easy. You're just adding all the sides, areas. It's not that it's hard, it's just multiplication. And some of our friends, I know some of my friends in my class are still not the biggest fans of multiplication. And remember when I said that everything we do builds on. So the multiplication that I was getting you to do like 4 units ago still applies now because we need to know our multiplication for area. Okay, so pause this, copy it down. I'm going to move on to area. I think the hardest part about all of this is like not having students. It's just my couch and my table and my frames and blankets. It's crazy. Okay, second is area. So we've done perimeter. What is area? Do you remember what area is? What does area mean? So perimeter means I'm trying to find out around a shape. I'm trying to find the total of the shape, whatever it is, room or shape. What is area? Is the space, is Is it around? So perimeter was around. Area is inside. And I want you to highlight that. Inside a shape. So, for example, if I'm looking for the perimeter of my room right now, let's say I want to get, or maybe think of the best one to think of as our garden, okay? If I want to know how much fence I need around the garden, that's perimeter, okay? I'm not trying to look at it in the garden. I want to see how much fence I will need here, how much fence I will need there, how much fence there. When you're looking at around a space, around a shape, that's perimeter. Okay, so I ordered fencing and that's my perimeter. But now let's say I want to plant, or I just want grass all over my garden. I don't want to plant any flowers or anything yet. I just want grass all over inside the garden. So I put a fence, which is my perimeter. Now that I want to know how much grass to put inside my garden, that would be your calculating area. And that, I think, a lot of students just kind of clicks for them. Okay, perimeter is around the garden. Area would be, okay, I want to put grass in the garden. Think of it this way. So area is the space inside of a shape. Okay, perimeter is around a shape. Now let's do the same thing. Right away of the marker. Okay, let's do, which was what? So how to calculate, or how to find, I think I had. So how do I find area? Do you remember? So perimeter was you're adding all the sides. Area you are multiplying. Yeah. Multiply the what? What's the fancy mathematical? Instead of just saying side and side, you're multiplying the length and what's the next one? Starts with a W. Width. The length and the width. And we'll see what that is on the shape in a moment. And let's look at the units, or what is measured in. And let's see if you guys remember this, because this is a little tricky. You might not remember this because this is, like I said, from last year. Might have forgotten this little part. So measured in, again, it could be any unit in the ladder. So it can still be, it could be centimeter, it could be, yeah, it could be centimeter, meter, kilometer, millimeter. It could be any of the units, but what is the difference? And I'll put it maybe in a purple. So perimeter, I would just say 20 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 6 kilometers, that's 20 kilometers. But for area, do you remember that special thing you have to add? So if I'm saying something in centimeters, you have to put, do you remember? A little 2. It has to be cubed. Sorry, squared. Cubed is later. Squared. Okay, and think of it like, because you put, and when I get to the example, you always have to put 2 because you've multiplied 2 sides. Think of it that way. That's a really easy way to think about it. Okay, you always have to end, if I calculated area, not perimeter, perimeter would just have cm. Area always have to have that 2 at the top. Okay, because you're multiplying 2 sides. Okay, let's do an example. You can probably put one down here. Example 1. Oops. Example 1. So I'm going to use the same shapes and the same measurements, so we can see how it would be the same thing as before. So I had 7 and 3, right? So I have 7 centimeter, and I have 3 centimeter. Right, and we also knew this was 7 centimeter and 3 centimeter because we know that's a rectangle, so opposite sides are always the same. Okay, how would I calculate the area? So area is equal to, and I'll write the full thing out now and we can use abbreviations as we move on. Area is equal to the length times width, or L times W. And I'll use abbreviations as we move on. So, just keep doing this. So what is my length? And a good way to think is length, think of how long. Length means how long something is. So how long is this shape? 7. And then, so multiplied by, so my length is 7. Multiplied by width. what is the width, and think of how wide something is. So what is the width? How wide is this shape? 3 centimeters. And this is where lovely multiplication comes in. All those students who don't like multiplication, it's still needed. So what's 7 times 3? 21. Hopefully you're just yelling it out. 21, and I'm not done yet. What are my units? Centimeter. And because it is area, I need to put a 2. So I multiplied 2 units together. Make sense? So the perimeter of this shape, remember if you look back to your notes just a couple steps before, it was 20 centimeters. The area is 21 centimeters squared. Okay, pause that, and I'm going to erase it. We'll do another example. Okay, let's do again, example 2. And we'll do the same shape as before, so it was a square. And this was 4, I think, meter, I said, right? 4 meter, and so we know that all of them are 4 meter because it's a square. Okay, let's do area, and I'll use abbreviations. So area is equal to, what's the formula or the equation? It is length times width. Okay, area is equal to length times width. If you want to write the whole form, that you're welcome to. You can write area and spell it out. You can write length if the letters confuse you. But try to get in the habit, because as you move forward in your years of math, it becomes easier to just write down letters. So area is equal to length, L, times width, W. So what is my length? How long is this shape? 4. And then how wide is this shape, which is easy because it's the same one, 4. So what is 4 times 4? 16. And then what are my units? I was measuring in meters, and because it's area, I need to put a square. Okay? So now, funny enough, if you look at your notes, the area of this, the perimeter of the shape was also 16, right? Which is fine. Doesn't mean you did something wrong, it just happens to be this, right? And that will happen when you do, when you're doing area and perimeter sometimes, right? So the area happens to be 16 meters squared. So make sure, because the perimeter of this shape is also 16, but it's just 16 meters. The area is 16 meters cubed. So maybe an application question, I might say, I have calculated, I might just give you something like this. I had this shape, maybe I'll give you something like this. I had this shape, and someone calculated, so did some formula and gave me this answer. What did I calculate? As soon as you see the 2 squared, you know, they calculated area. That happens to be the area of the shape. So that's also an indication for you. Okay, easy enough, hopefully. And that's all today. Today's just a big review. We're gonna do we'll do a quick example. You'll do quick examples, and that's it for today. Okay, so let's, again, pause it if you need to. I'm gonna just write down maybe 2 examples you can do on your own. Let's say practice. Let's see. Let's see, I've given you a shape. We'll do 2. I've given you a shape. I'll do it over here. Do some. Yeah, let's do 9. Get a different color. This is 9 centimeter, and let's do 5 centimeter, and I want you to fill in the rest, and then I want you to calculate perimeter, and I want you to calculate area. Do that on your own. And then example 2, let's say, say 1 kilometer and 12 kilometers. And I also want you to calculate perimeter an area. So I want you to pause the video right now, write these measurements down, write these two shapes, two examples, pause the video, and just try it on your own. So use your notes. This is just your own quiz, your own Edmodo quiz, or your check-in for today. Write these two examples down and tell me, what would the perimeter be of this shape? What would the area be of this shape? What would be the perimeter of this shape? What would be the area? Pause it, and then now we can do it together, okay? So perimeter, we know is what? What's the formula for perimeter? We know it's side plus side plus side plus side. So what are my sides? So I've got 9 and 5. 9 plus 5 plus, what are my other two? 9 and 5. Okay, then I need to add it all up. So 9 plus 5 plus 9 plus 5 is 28. Good. And then what are my units? Centimeter. So that's correct. Give yourself a check mark if you got 28 centimeters. Area. What's the formula for area? It should be length times width. Okay, what is my length? How long is it? It is 9. And then how wide is my shape? It's 5. Then you're doing multiplication. What is 9 times 5? 45. And then last little bit, what are my units? Centimeter, and centimeter what? Squared. So if you got 45 centimeters squared, you were also correct. Second example, I've got perimeter for, I've got 1 kilometer here and 12 kilometers here. Perimeter is what? Side, so 1 plus 12 plus 1 plus 12, which is what? 12 plus 12 plus 1 plus 1, 26. And what are my units? Kilometer, I was going to say centimeters. Okay. And the last one, so you got that right, check mark. And the last one, area. What is the formula for area? Length times width. What is my length? 12, that's how long the shape is. How wide is it? It's only 1. So what's 12 times 1? Easy enough. 12. What are my units? Kilometer squared. Make sure, if you didn't get squared, please don't mark it correct. If you forgot the squares, don't mark it correct. Fix it now though. Fix it now. Okay, and then give yourself, let's mark ourselves, we're at brown. So give yourself, let's do class corrected. Even though you're not there and I'm not here, oh my gosh. It's okay. And then give yourself 1 check mark, or 2 check mark, or 3 to wherever you are. Hopefully it's either 2 or 3. And even if you, hopefully, no major issues today. Like I said, it was just review on what you've done in grade 4. So as of now, just take a moment. I'm just wrapping this up. You're going to be, make sure you reviewed this. You're going to be going into your Edmodo folder. There's 2 worksheets for you, both on perimeter and area. You can print them out if you have a printer. I know some of you say you don't have a printer. That's okay. You can always just write down the shape in your notebook, and then you can write down the units and then show me your work. Okay? I do want to see your work. This has been fun. This has been interesting. I will see you again tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And again, I really miss you guys. Okay, bye.